Yo, it's me, CSCOTT, baby, and I'm here with my review of the 2011 film, Captain America the First Avenger, starring Chris Hemsworth, Tommy Lee Jones, Haley Atwell, and is directed by Joe Johnston. As you can see, I'm wearing my Captain America hat. I don't like wearing it forward, so this is going to have to be a representation of Captain America right here. This back. You can see it there, I guess. Alright, so this came out. I did see this one in theaters because Captain America's always been one of my favorite of the Marvel superheroes, up there with Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. So, you know, I remember back in the day, the Spider-Man animated series had a 5-part miniseries all about Captain America and the 6 Forgotten Warriors. So, yeah. That has nothing to do with this, but there is some story elements that go into this. The biggest thing for me is that this is technically a war film. I'm not a big war film kind of guy, but watching this again, it's not meant to be a standard war film. It's about this guy. His name is Steve Rogers, and he's this skinny little anemic looking guy who all he wants to do is serve his country, and they won't let him. He's going so far as to going around to different cities, claiming he is from different states, which is against the law, but just so he can find a way to serve. Every time he goes there, they tell him no, because of, you know, what he looks like. Now, I remember the first time I watched this, I thought perhaps they were going a bit too far, making him as skinny as he is, and giving him all this, like, asthma and stuff. Like, was he really that bad before he was Captain America? I don't remember him being that bad. But then again, I never really got... The Spider-Man animated series only showed him becoming the big Captain America, the big Steve Rogers. They never really elaborated on what he was before. So, you know, I never knew. It's possible. You know, we meet his best friend Bucky, who is, you know, a lot bigger than him. And he's been sent to serve with the 107th. Remember that number, 107th, because that comes in handy later. Eventually, Steve's gumption catches the eye of one Dr. Erskine, who, you know, says put him into the service, and then he actually brings him in for the super soldier program. And as, you know, if you've seen the animated series Spider-Man, animated series version, it's kind of like that. He gets the super soldier surgery, becomes serum, he becomes big, and then a secret agent from Hydra destroys the machine so they can't make any more, and he steals the file of it so that they have something. And then here Captain America makes way, and there's a scene where the Hydra agent tries to throw him off by throwing a kid in the water, and when Steve goes to chase after him, he's like, no, it's okay, I can swim. He's like, oh. So he chases after the guy, you know. The one thing I like about this is you have a love interest in Peggy Carter, and they show you, you know, most movies love interest would be like, oh, he's big and strong, so she loves him. But here they show you that there was something between them before he became the big, strong Captain America. So it's not just superfluous. It's not just, you know, superficial where, oh, she likes him because he's big and strong. She liked him because of the man he was even before that, you know. So that shows that. And then there's more women that like him. What I don't like is that he was supposed to be a new brand of soldier. And after he's created, they don't know what to do with him. Well, the obvious thing would be to send him out to war, duh. But no, they decided to use him as a poster boy for Bonds. I don't know, he's going out there, he's doing a song and dance, and he's proud of himself at first, but he realizes it's not what he wanted. He wants to serve his country. This isn't serving his country. He's basically a sideshow freak. Then he finds out that the 107th, there was an attack. Most of the 107th didn't make it back, and they reported. See, and I don't like that. Well, you know, at least according to this film, if you go on missing, they just say, "Oh, you're dead." Because like he asked about Bucky, and like the way they present it is that everyone who didn't come back is automatically assumed dead. They don't even think that they're prisoners; they are assumed dead. And so like, because then the general, played by Tommy Lee Jones, says, "I write a lot of names, but I never forget a name. I'm sorry, son." I'm like, okay, but you're not gonna go send any more troops, send Cap there. My problem with this whole thing is that they won't send Cap on a mission. He's basically invincible. He has to work with Howard Stark and Peggy Carter, Agent Carter, to work around to do this operation because they won't allow him to go there. Why not? He's a super soldier. If anyone can do it, he can. And they won't allow him to do it. It makes no sense. They treat him like a sideshow freak. He should have been the one leading the front lines from the beginning. That's the reason why he was created. Why do the experiment of all if you're not going to use him? You know what I mean? It makes no sense, but he does. He goes, he saves them. Every single one of them. And they play this thing where he goes to jump off and there's a big explosion and you're supposed to believe that he's dead. This is a sad moment where, the general's like, "Stark's rich. I can't touch him. Stark's rich. He's got whatever. You're neither of those things." And he's gonna totally chew out, Agent Carter. And then you see people running. What's going on? And then here comes Captain America with all the rest of the 107th marching. And, so then now they're trusting him to lead their operations. Now he's memorized all these bases apparently. And they're setting up, they're going to go after Arnim Zola, who is like the right-hand man for Johann Schmidt, who is the leader of this thing, of Hydra, and he's also the Red Skull. Now, we're introduced to Johann Schmidt beginning of this film, and I like the Doctor Who connections in this movie. There's two of them. First, we got David Bradley, who is the second actor to play, he replaced William Hartnell, whatever, as the first Doctor in a special or two back in the new Doctor Who, because the actor William Hartnell had passed away several years earlier, so they had a new actor. He was also in another episode as a different character, and then Bucky gets two girls to go with them, and one of the girls is Jenna Coleman, aka Clara Oswald, or Clara, as the 12th Doctor would say, Clara Oswald. I saw that, I'm like, it was her smile. She smiled, and I went, sorry, my stutter's acting up. I looked at her, she smiled, and I went, Clara? Just because I was dumbfounded. I didn't realize she was in it. There's more Doctor Who connections as we go further in the MCU. So we'll get to that, especially a certain scene in Avengers Infinity War that I really compared thinking about this. I'm like, wait a minute. But, so, yeah, Doctor Who connections. But David Bradley is there. He was also in Harry Potter, which is also a connection to Thor, I guess. But anyways, so Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull, he's after this big Tesseract. And he finds this one little cube. He knows it's not it. He smashes it. And he finds the real one. And it's really, we find out later it's an Infinity Stones. This is the start of the Infinity Stones showing up. Alright? And so then we get, we find out that Schmidt was one of the first recruits for Super Soldier program. It didn't work right, which is why he's the Red Skull. Even though for most of the film, at least for half of the film, he's not the Red Skull. You don't see his face. You see little hints of it, and it's not till he goes to rescue the 107th that Cap goes to rescue the 107th that he finally just takes it off and he's Red Skull for the rest of the film. He's like, oh, let's cut this out of his back. Okay. Yeah, I have the Red Skull. Do you like it? I don't know. That's not how he talks at all, but I'm just saying. And then you get the climax where they fight on that big plane. And, like, the only thought I have, right, is he thinks, okay, this thing's going to land in New York. It's going to blow things up. So what am I going to do? Crash it into the Atlantic. Okay, but there's still bombs on there, right? He crashes it into the sea. Okay. And he freezes. Now, I like the reason what they did in the Spider-Man animated series. It was a machine that suspended both of them in a alternate kind of, not dimension, so to speak, but they're just frozen in another dimension of some sort. Destined to fight forever, I guess. They're just frozen there. I like that. Here, as well as in the Ultimate Avengers movie, he's frozen in ice. And yes, I get that's the more practical idea, especially for the 1940s. But frozen in ice, would that work? Because we've been shown that while there's some fantastical things, like in Thor, it's been a very grounded series, and this takes it back to being very grounded. Someone's still alive after being frozen in ice. It's a comic book movie, don't think too much about it, but I'm just saying. And you see the Andes brought back, and they try to fool him, but they play a baseball game that he actually attended. So he figures out they're faking him out, and then he's, there. Also, Bucky dies at one point, and people have said, oh, he dies, how did they find him? Well, it's obvious that there was Hydra agents going to go after this. Like, it was a trap. This was a trap to capture Captain America. There were Hydra agents surrounding the place. It's very, plausible that there were agents on the ground. They found him. One, they had already started their experiments. He was in one of those experiment chairs, when Cap found him. He had already started his experiments. So he wasn't dead. His experiments were already started. They just grabbed him and continued the experiments. So it's very plausible that there were agents around that just grabbed him and brought him back for the other experiments. It's very plausible. Especially since you connect this to Winter Soldier. And, watching this the first time, I was like, oh, they just killed off his best friend. Wow. And there's the romance, between those two. Between Cap and Agent Carter. And the whole thing with, you owe me a dance. And then he goes down. He wakes up almost 70 years later. And you got Samuel L. Jackson there as Nick Fury. And then we get the post-credit scene, which is not really a post-credit scene. It's a trailer lead-in. You get one little scene from the movie, from the Avengers. And then you get lead into the trailer where he's like, I got a mission for you. Trying to get me back on the world. Trying to save it. And then it goes into a trailer for the Avengers. Next summer, May 2012. All that whole thing. All in all, this movie's pretty good. I like the World War II feel of it. It feels like a war film within the inside of the MCU, but at the same time, it's not a war film because there's not a lot of shots of them fighting the war. So it's a war era film, so to speak. It's a very World War II era film, not centered around World War II, if you get what I mean. The acting is phenomenal. Tommy Lee Jones is good. Haley Atwell, Chris Evans, they're good. Even Sebastian Stan, for what his part is really good. And like I said, for each movie in the MCU, I'm going to say my favorite line from the film. And this one is, because it's said twice in this film, and it is, I can do this all day. Another one that was a candidate was, you're taking all the stupid with you. And then I'm with you to the end of the line, but I'm not sure if that's said in here. I don't remember it being said in here. But it's said in Captain America, Winter Soldier. But here, My favorite line is, I can do this all day. He says it when he's getting beat up by the big bully guy, which that scene alone is kind of stupid. He's confronted by the guy where there's a lot of people. And then all of a sudden they're outside and he's fighting them. There's no one in there that stopped him from doing this. Then again, we're not shown like Cap could have, or Steve could have been like, oh, it's okay. I can deal with it or something like that. I don't know. And then later when he's fighting the Red Skull, he says, I can do this all day. You know? And the Tesseract, Red Skull, everyone assumed, oh, the Tesseract killed the Red Skull. No. Especially later when we find out it's the Space Stone. No, it didn't kill him. It sent him somewhere. And we find out in Infinity War where it sent him. But I kept saying all this time, I said, he's not dead. It's the Space Stone. It teleported him somewhere. It did not kill him. It teleported him somewhere. And people were like, no, he's dead. He's dead. It vaporized him. He's dead. No, he was sent somewhere. And I said it from the very beginning. But they're like, I'm like, even in this, when I didn't know what it was, I said that does not look like he died. It looked like he was teleported. And people kept saying, oh, he's dead. I'm like, no, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. And I was proven right in Infinity War. And we'll get to that. But my score for Captain America, the First Avenger, it's going to be an 8. I really enjoy it. Not the best of the Captain Americas, but I don't know. It's pretty good. Okay, it's probably the worst of the Captain America for me. But it's still a pretty good film. When the worst of something is still pretty good, it's still good. So what are your thoughts on Captain America, the First Avenger? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one, which is the Avengers.